One of the techniques that you have used for many years, and which you learned, I believe, from Dr. Rigardi, was the use of facial exercises, making faces, as you sometimes called it. You speak about that a little bit in the Black Book too, as well. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, it goes back even way before Dr. Rigardi. I think a class I took in neurophysiology way back when, in the 60s, goes back to the interesting relationship between the amount of brain tissue dedicated to specific areas of the body and the actual physical size of the body. For an example, in the face, in the whole facial area, including the tongue, there's a significantly greater amount of brain cortex sensory tissue. And when you compare it to the size of the face, it's rather overwhelming. This is often been referred to as the homunculus. And for those who haven't seen a picture of the homunculus, in Black Book 2, there's a picture of it drawn by a professor of anatomy. And what it shows is a man sitting on a toilet seat, but instead of the picture of a man as you would imagine him, it shows the picture of the homunculus. And you'll note when you see the picture in Black Book 2, and if you don't have that, you can go online and look under the word homunculus, Homunculus, that's a common spelling, and see the picture for yourself. You'll note when you look at the picture the amount of area that is dedicated to the face. I developed techniques, as well as Dr. Rigardi, for utilizing this significant amount of brain tissue to our best interest. And it's particularly useful to break up the tensions and the forces that have occurred while you were sleeping. What I tend to suggest to people is first write down when you wake up the first thought that comes into your mind. You might find this to yield great information about the mood that you will be experiencing during the day. Also, along with this, note the season, note the date. Make sure it is not a personal holiday, or if it is, make note of it. Note the morning temperature, the sky cover, all kinds of conditions. You want to really get a sense that we do operate in a very biochemical, electrical process, and mood is very important. Now, getting back to the face exercise, whatever your mood is, it's important to do this every morning. And it's important for a lot of reasons. This one little exercise may be worth 2 years of psychotherapy. And it goes like this. You take a breath, gently. You don't hold the breath. You take another breath. Get into a nice flow of rhythmic breathing. Now, what I want you to do, and you'll notice my voice changing, is start squinching up your face. Right now, what I'm doing is rolling my cheeks to the extreme. In other words, with my mouth, I'm rolling the cheeks from side to side and holding each move for a few seconds when I reach the extreme. Now I'm going to another side. You'll notice the change in my voice. My eyes are very tightly closed, and I'm doing that deliberately because I want the muscles underneath the eyes to get very tense. The tenser they get, the better, because when I relax them, lots of energy will flow, and it will break up any what I call nighttime mask that you develop while you were sleeping. People don't realize that their face, as a rule, is chronically fixed and goes from one chronically fixed position to another chronically fixed position. If you watch people walk around at the office or at home, there's a face on, a dead face I often call it. These facial exercises will enliven you. Now let's get back to them. instead of moving the cheek from side to side, I just have both cheeks pulled up as high as I can, my eyes closed as tight as I can. I even see white after images now. Now with my two fingers, I start tapping my forehead and tap it moderately. You can hear the tap. Don't cause yourself any excessive pain, but be sure you feel it. Now I'm holding my cheeks up, my eyes tightly closed, and I'm tapping my head, tapping my forehead. I start twisting my jaw. I relax the cheeks and twist my jaw from left to right, left to right, left to right, open, close, left to right, left to right. Now make the cheeks again, close the eyes, and move the jaw from left to right, left to right. You'll notice all kinds of activities, all kinds of new sensations and pains, mild pains that you've never experienced before. And after you're done doing this for 5 or 6 minutes, you will feel your face to be alive. And what you've done is you've stimulated all this massive sensory area in your cortex. And along with that stimulation, you've stimulated all kinds of other neurons and synapses in your cortex. And that information is now on its way down to the subcortex and on its way back to the frontal lobes. Now we'll continue. My cheeks feel so alive right now, I can't believe it. Now stick out your tongue. Lift up your cheeks as high as you can. Open your mouth and stick your tongue out. Notice how I sound now. Completely not content like Donald Duck. That's how you understand. Yeah, send it out as far as you can. As far as you can. Now after you're done doing that, and you'll come up with all kinds of little innovations of your own. But I've given you the general picture. Do that every morning. Write down your thought first. Your first thought, whatever it is, no matter how crazy it is, or how simple it is, or how profound it is, write it down. That will give you a clue as to what your unconscious brain has planned for you for the day and what it's been going through all night. Then do your face exercises. Okay. Now, after you're done doing your face exercises, give yourself a break. You should have noted if the day means anything to you. For an example, is it the day your father died or your mother died or your sister was born, or is it a collective holiday like Christmas, or is it your birthday? These things are programmed in the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind accounts for 99% of all mental activity. In other words, what you have in consciousness is only a bare minimum of all the activity that is going on in your mind. It's much like a computer screen. What you see has very little to do with all the activities and all the processes that are taking place behind the screen. I suggest doing the face exercise 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. As I mentioned the first morning thought, try to also keep in mind the last thought you have before you go to sleep at night. That may also set the tone for what's going to take place while you're sleeping. So in the morning, you got 6 minutes on the face. In the afternoon, go anywhere where you can be alone and do the face exercises again. That will help break up all the tensions, the anxieties, and the tense mask that you develop, particularly when you're around other people. Remember, other people, no matter what anyone says, are potential anxiety provokers. Just the fact that we're around other people. Remember, other people are both comfort and threat. This is hardwired in. And don't be fooled by all the social nonsense you hear on television or your silly teachers have told you. People have anxiety toward other people. All people do. There's nothing unique about it. So after working for 4 hours or doing whatever you do in the morning, even if you're by yourself, you've developed a mask. Break the mask up at noon. Just before you eat, not after you eat. Before you eat. If you do it after you eat, you could get nauseous. In the evening, you should do this before you go to sleep on a relatively empty stomach. Don't do it if you've been drinking a lot and have a lot of food on your belly and are going to go to bed. You shouldn't do that anyways. It's not good for you. But if you do, don't do the face exercises. Do them at another time. But it's very important to get the concept in your mind that human beings develop what is called a face mask. And it becomes chronic. And it begins to determine things that you do, things that you feel, and it begins to become set like concrete. It's so subtle. That's why no one has really discussed this before, because they're a victim of it. It's so subtle and can fix you for life. Take a look at an old person's face. Take a look at the lines that they've developed. This is their death mask, and their death mask began in youth. Our goal here is to reverse that and to prevent it from continuing on. For the ultimate goal of all these exercises and all this discussion is to give you flexibility and freedom. Not to be a robot, not to be a complete automaton, or a dumb automaton anyways, to free yourself from that.